Hey, Shalom. All praise, honor, glory to Yahweh Shem Shai. Double honors to the apostle, nails the great millstone. Peace and blessing to you, Akim, throughout the four winds, pushing this truth and sincerity. Stand up for righteousness, even if life's at stake. Self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? Stand up for righteousness, even if your life is at stake. You know what I'm saying? And you can go to Romans, the 8th chapter. And it basically tells you what shall separate us from the love of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, let me grab that real quick. I got my other phone here. This is Romans 8 and 35. Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep to the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which is Hamashiach Yahushua, our Lord. Self-explanatory. If you're not willing to die for what you believe in, why are you believing in it? If you're not willing to lay your life down for eternal life, if you have to be counted amongst the first fruit, I can show you people in the world who would do it for less. Just look at the gang life. You get jumped in. It's people taking 40 years for somebody who said, I promised an oath to that brother, to my brother. You know what I'm saying? For life. That's my blood brother for life. So what happens? They wind up going and being locked up for life with somebody for something they didn't even do. And guess what? They die in prison. So they just gave their life for something that wasn't even worth it. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do the same for the Creator who could have had you. You could have been born an Edomite. You could have been born Moab. But you were born in Israel and you understand this truth. And that all you can do is watch videos. You know what I'm saying? All you can do is scoff. What's on your page? Okay? Those are the type of people that when the time comes, I want to stand by and watch video Israelites. Bro, they gonna take the chip. They will not be put to death. Because putting up videos and going on the highways and hedges actually shows you're about something. You know what I'm saying? Because you are putting yourself in harm's way. You are putting yourself in harm's way. You know what I'm saying? So that's showing faith. All right. This is 1 Maccabees 2:17. It says, Then answered the king's officers and said unto Mattathias, On this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now, therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judea also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. Okay, so now it's like all you have to do is come over here and you're going to be honored. Just basically bow down before the king. You know what I'm saying? Basically just do exactly what goes against what you're supposed to be standing for. You see it today in what? Christianity. Preachers in church. They've basically sold out. What do they get out of preaching in that church? Now you get people who are docile and willing to follow you, to where you're telling them basically nothing but lies, singing songs, and now they go into their pocketbook and you can afford that new car, that new house, and you're giving them nothing. You're not prophesying to them. You're not telling them and warning them of the dangers to come. Nothing. Okay, it's the same thing. You have them bowing down to this system. Then Mattathias, Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. It's taking a stand for righteousness, bro. Most High forbid that we should forsake the law of the ordinance. No, it's not going to happen. This is the way we order ourselves and conduct ourselves, and the oath that was promised to our forefathers if we kept these laws, that's how we rolling. We will not hearken unto the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was in Modin, according to the king's commandments. Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Okay, so he was mad. Like, man, that's not how we conduct ourselves. You just easily going away following the customs and traditions of these heathens. Okay, just because they're in power. That don't make it right. That's not how we get down. You know what I'm saying? He stood for something. If he had to be put to death, he stood for it. Okay? Thus dealt he zealously for the law of the Most High, like Phinehas did unto Zimri, the son of Salem. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. Now he's saying who's not for the bullshit and breaking the customs of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. So he has a following now. Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle because afflictions increased sore upon them. Now they knew what they done was going to go back to the king. So what happens is now it's death at their backs. They will be faced with death now. Okay? Now, when it was told to the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth. Now it's like, you know what you done, but we're going to give you a chance to right your wrong. Okay? It says, come forth, and according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. So you know what you got to do, sacrifice. Okay? But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. Not gonna happen. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid, but said, let us die all in innocency. Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. And Yahweh Shem Yahshua, they were watching this. Okay? They died for righteousness' sake, but they were basically murdered. They were basically murdered. And you know Yahweh Shem Yahshua hates that. Okay? It says, with their wives and their children and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people. Now when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. At that time thereof they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Okay? Neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted to the law. Also all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were a stay unto them. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath, but the rest fled to the heathen for succor. So now kind of fearing. Okay? Didn't want to battle, so they fled. Now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. If have to be put to death, bro, for your law and your fathers, because your fathers, they stood for something. If they had to die, they died. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Abraham showed faith. Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. Phinehas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Yahushua, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, receiving the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, being by believing, were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. So, you stand up for Yahweh Shem Yahushua, he will ride for you. Period. You stand up for what's righteous, the Most High will cover you. Period. But even if you have to be put to death, take it. You know what I'm saying? Take it. Understand, this will come to some of us. Take it. Because death, the way people put a name on death, is not what you think it is. But today's life has us in this spooky feeling of death. You know what I'm saying? You're just delivering the dirt back to the ground, and your spirit is going to be with Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Right? So stand up for righteousness, man. There's people that stand up for less. So why can't we, being in the know of truth of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, knowing what's at stake, knowing at the end of this, we're going to overcome and be what we were set up to be. Okay? So it's going to be well worth it. I hope this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Double honor to the Apostle Nelson, great millstone. Peace and blessing to you. I can preach this truth throughout the four winds. Shalom.